And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the Valley of the Judged. I am your one and only gaming monk, better known as Mildra, and with me, I have two of my good brothers and one newcomer into my monastery. We have our three-eyed master of puns, good brother Joe.
Hello.
We have our resident sky pirate, good brother Sizer.
Ahoy, Navast.
And
Not necessarily in that order.
making her debut in the monastery, our our good sister from across the world, from the land of tomorrow, quite literally, good sister Sachan.
Hello.
It was either that or call
Welcome
you.
from the land of tomorrow.
Do you have to do that every time?
Yes. I can't
But-
remember the exact line. I'm sorry.
Haven't you ever heard of a little thing called showmanship? Which I should note, someone made a fan game called Futurama now with dice.
Interesting.
You know, I've never actually played like a comedy-centered TTRPG.
I
We should
did. It was
try
called
that
Dungeons
sometime.
and Dragons.
Ayo!
I've played a few. Some of them were supposed to be comedies that ended up working too well. Like, say, Hackmaster, which was supposed to be a piss take on AD&D, but the problem is they did too good of a job.
Mm.
Of course, there's also Paranoia, which, yes, Paranoia is a comedy. A very black
actually, yeah.
comedy.
Now that you say that, I have played Paranoia. Okay,
Mhm.
I've at least done that.
Remember, the computer is your friend.
Oh yes, indeed, friend
And-
computer. We love you, friend computer.
And there's also things like Everyone is John. I played that at a few cons.
Hmm.
I specifically had that one brought up because the guy who was going to be GM was named John.
Mm.
'Cause he had said, I will run any game you give me. It's like, all right, we're running Everyone is John this afternoon. And he was just like, I hate you so much. When he did the whole rant about how much he hated me, I'm like, here's a number, get to the back of the line. I will get to you eventually.
All right.
But and there have been times where I will inflict bunnies and burrows on people and then surprise them by saying, "Oh yeah, we're doing this in a Watership Down style campaign."
Oh no!
Because
Oh no!
did I tell you about the rental incident regarding that movie?
Mm-mm.
Once upon a
What
time,
No.
I worked at a rental store. It wasn't Blockbuster. Blockbuster didn't have that big of a foothold where I lived at the time. And this soccer mom looking woman puts a copy of Watership Down right in front, shoves it right in front of me and says, "Is this appropriate for children?" And my shoulder devil was feeling a bit spicy that day. And my shoulder devil said 2 words. Say nothing. All that I said
Hey.
was, and I quote, "Oh, Watership Down's a great movie."
I
Now
mean,
note the wording there.
yeah, you're not
yeah,
wrong.
Yeah.
A few
You
days
didn't say
later,
4 children anywhere.
yeah, a few days later, I'm on vacation, and I catch wind that same woman stormed back into the place demanding where I was for lying to her.
Oh.
And nobody in the whole store snitched. And when I found out about it after the fact, they were like, "What? Why didn't you tell her I was out of town?" And everybody was like, "Because it was too funny." And Mario in the chat asks, "Did you have Hollywood Video, Monk?" Yes.
Wow,
mostly
what a difference.
It was mostly a holdover when Hollywood Video took over the spots that were done by, and I swear to God, this is their name, Tidal Wave.
Wow.
Title Wave. I know. I hate it too.
I've heard worse.
You've said worse.
Of course I said worse. I'm contractually obligated to make at least 10 dad jokes a day.
That's true. That's true. We can't really blame him for that. We can't really blame him.
Now, obviously, we are coming off of April Fool's Day, and yes, I did find ways to mess with people. I know that there's those disclaimers of, oh, don't do these kind of announcements on your social medias for April Fool's Day. I look at that and I'm go, you bunch of amateurs. Like, have at least some respect for the craft. I'm not gonna do some, oh, I'm announcing graduation or something like that on April Fool's Day because I'm too busy doing real emotional damage.
Emotional damage.
Get those psychic hits in.
Yeah. Of course, sometimes if I'm bored one year, I'll do the worst thing possible. Nothing.
Make them wonder.
Although, there was that time that everybody thought that I was responsible for someone putting a statue of Jason in the bottom of a lake that was popular tourist trap for lake divers. I only know about it because I got sent news articles about it asking if I did it.
Statue?
Yeah, someone put a life-size... Yeah.
Oh.
Someone put a life-size statue of Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th at the bottom of a lake.
Yep, I've seen pictures of it.
Mm-hmm.
At least it's not the statue of handsome Squidward that someone did.
That is cursed.
They put it in the ocean and then buried it like slightly so that people would think that it's like some kind of like ancient statue or something like that.
Okay, in that case, that's blurst.
It's blurst. It was great.
Yeah. But seeing as we finished up Parslings last week, it is the in-between season, which because of schedule conflicts, there's going to be a few of these in-betweeners. To catch up on that, Sachan, a policy that I have is in between full seasons of whatever we're covering, we do a couple one-shot things, which is just lighter materials. Sometimes a very light game, sometimes a quick start. We also do it every 3 episodes for each season. This is known as the 3-in-1 rule. Because of some schedule conflicts, we're going to be extending the what I call it one shot, but it's been expanded to 2 shots for the next few weeks.
Shot.
Not dignifying that.
Sorry.
Now, are you?
For this one, yeah.
But for this first one, we're going to be tackling Mythic Battles Pantheon, the role-playing game, not to be confused with the board game. Now, Mythic Battles recently finished its crowdfund on GameFound and did pretty well for itself. And as a bit of an aside, I find it amusing that certain games I've covered in the past have gotten slammed for being too board gamey, and yet I find a healthy amount of TTRPGs that trace their roots to certain board games. This is one example. Another one that I've covered years ago is Maximum Apocalypse, which is actually a pretty good game, both on the board game side and the RPG side. Though more often than not, when people end up saying that, it's usually said by grognards. And you guys know my policy about grogs. Uh, Sachan, for reference, grognard is a reference to an old slang term for originating in France for an old soldier who complains a lot. And
Oh, I thought you were referring to the AI grok.
no,
There's
Okay,
not much
okay.
of a difference.
no, a lot in current parlance, grognard is people who came up in the very early days of certain RPGs and very much believe that the older ways on how certain things work is the only way that's legitimate. So I have,
So an old crank.
yeah,
Yeah.
I liken them to the, and this is a bit of a deep cut sizer, I liken them to the rockism attitude that was all over the music scene back in the, going back to the 70s.
Hmm.
Oh.
Sorry, that's a deep. My cut didn't go quite that deep. But just to say, it went over my head. Sorry.
So there was a school of thought called rockism, that by the time we get to the early 2000s had kind of fallen by the wayside. The idea, and this was something that was seen in a lot of the musical gatekeepers of the time, a lot of people writing for like Rolling Stone or Pitchfork or whatnot, that unless you were classic rock, like the kind that showed up in the 60s and 70s, you weren't real music.
Mhm.
And you especially saw it with the waves of new genres that started cropping up in the 80s and the 90s. And there was a counter movement to that called poptimism that was trying to make pop more respectable and trying to show that it's not as shallow as people think it is. That movement ultimately won, but when I see a lot of grogs who insist that the only true way to play fantasy gaming is AD&D with 1-to-1 timing as Gygax intended, I end up thinking of the rockism people who would constantly say, "Oh, this band is good, but it's no Bruce Springsteen or Eric Clapton," which was,
Sure.
oh, and yeah, Rolling Stone was a repeat offender when it came to this. They called Bohemian Rhapsody a weaker version of a poor man's Pirates of Penzance.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm not kidding.
I know you're not kidding. I'm just very confused.
So was I. And I read the magazine it was in. And I ended up doing a spit
Yeah.
take.
And it's like, these guys are like, we're gonna treat like the new kids the way that we were treated when our stuff was
Yeah.
first coming out.
Yeah.
So
You said it best. Like, oh, your opinion is invalid because I have experienced this. So my opinion is more valid than yours. Thank you. Just because you're older.
And I've taken the approach of everybody has their day in court. But because everybody's got their day in court, everybody gets the same treatment. But so for Mythic Battles Pantheon, this is only about the Quickstart we're going through is only about 60 pages. They were actually crowdfunding 2 games, Mythic Battles Pantheon and Mythic Battles Ragnarok. Ultimately, the rules are the same, it's just different settings. One is obviously very Norse mythology, and the other is Greek mythology. What is very amusing to me is that I see a very familiar name in the rules development. Good old Shep.
Chris Shepperson.
Yep. Who has been a frequent guest here in the monastery, both for his own work and for stuff that he's done with Monolith. I had him on for the Conan RPG that Monolith is putting out. I say putting out. The thing came out a month ago. At least for backers like myself. I'd like to try and do further interviews with some of the other people who've worked on Conan, or at least do a retrospective. But that's a story for another day. He also seems to really be gung-ho on trying to give the D12 some love. But
The poor
Aw.
D12.
now,
By the way, what's the opposite of a retrospective? A modern spective?
No, it'd be like a future spective, right?
Oh.
What is to come?
Yeah,
I don't know.
but I never studied psychohistory in college. So, the only part of it we're not going to cover is the saga and some of the game mastering chapter, because a lot of that is going to be stuff that's, for us, will be somewhat redundant.
But only somewhat.
I will note I appreciate the fact that the table of contents has hyperlinks, and the PDF itself has bookmarks.
Gotta love it.
I will note, Sachan, one of the big one of the big hills I will die on is proper navigation. If a PDF of a certain size does not have an index or does not have bookmarks, that is an immediate red flag. Or red card, depending on what sport you're following.
I mean, this still this one is like a little bit small, on the smaller side. 60, it's fine.
Oh, it is a quick start. It's rare to have quick starts be 100 pages.
Yeah.
So you mean to say
Just-
that there's a version that it's like a larger
There's going
one?
to be a version.
Yeah, it's basically a demo.
Yep. But then they get into the introduction, and I will read off the introduction before they get into what is a TTRPG. The world is not as it was. Gone are the days of bright skies, full fields, and flashing blue oceans filled with sea life and piled by hardy sailors. Gone are the citadels of thought, commerce, and democracy. Gone are the times when gods walked among humanity, bringing with them their bounty, blessings, and divine presence. The world should not be as it is. The skies are darkened with purple thunderclouds, and even in clear patches the sun, moon, and stars seem dimmed and somehow distant. The earth is rent with great fissures, its soil poisoned by venom, hate, and deep magics. Small communities lie in the ruins of great cities, while the rest of humanity huddles in hidden villages, or roams the earth as starving nomad. War, a vast destructive conflict between the gods and titans, rages over land and sea, leaving nothing but the dead in its wake. Welcome to the world of Mythic Battles Pantheon. Based on the board game of the same name by Monolith Board Games, the role-playing game places you at the heart of a post-apocalyptic Greece, in the middle of a cataclysmic war, and within the evolving story of the end of days. As for you, you are a champion of the gods. With spear, bow, and sword, you cross this shattered land, doing the bidding of your patron divinity. Whether slaying terrible monsters, foiling the direct efforts of the titans, or gathering information and resources to turn the tide of the war, you serve your god with no fear of pain nor death. Because in this final war at the end of the world, death is just the beginning of a true warrior's journey. If you prove your courage, loyalty, prowess, and wit sufficiently, your god will bring you back from the underworld to fight again and again and again.
Okay.
But first, you must earn that right. Over the course of your heroic life, you dream of standing apart from the hallowed ranks of your god's other champions. If the tale you weave for yourself in this war is of sufficient merit, you will become a hero, a warrior fit to stand beside the likes of Achilles, Leonidas, Heracles, and Medea, whose mighty name will echo through time until the very last day, and with this title, the gift of resurrection awaits you. While the war rages against the monsters of legend and the titans themselves, a new stone, Omphalos, has begun to appear on Earth. Thrown loose from the roots of Olympus itself, these shards of power lie strewn across the ruined landscape. Champions are tasked with searching the cosmos for these precious omphaloi, so the gods can use their power to turn the tide of battle in their favor before the Titans can do the same. Through it all, however, a new threat has begun to appear. A spiritual rot known as putrescence has begun to infect the once fertile land and its inhabitants. Despair, hopelessness, cruelty, and malice grow incrementally while the trees, crops, and land itself become brittle. None yet know from where the putrescence comes, what causes it to spread, or what, if anything, can be done to stop it. It may be a new end of the world, not foretold by prophecy or legends, or it might just be one thread in a tangled skein of fate and valor. Perhaps you and the other champions will learn the truth before you meet your final end. You may find yourself shoulder to shoulder, or blade to blade, with legendary heroes like Jason, Hector, or Hippolyta, or maybe locked in mortal combat against the dreaded Harpy or the Great Hydra. Alternatively, you may face off against an avatar of a god or titan, the physical embodiment of one of the great divinities, like Ares, Persephone, or Zeus. In Mythic Battle's Pantheon, the very survival of all that inhabit the mythological lands of ancient Greece is in your hands. Will you enter the Elysian fields with the glory of a great warrior, or be forever lost to a dishonorable demise at the hands of another's god? So, no pressure.
No pressure.
It's only up to you to, like, stop the ongoing apocalypse.
And listen, not everyone can be as famous as Medea. You know, there's like so many of those movies by now.
It's right. Tyler Perry is the true divinity of
Right.
the Greek pantheon.
Oh god, I hate Tyler Perry so much. Do you have any idea how overplayed Soul Food got?
Yes.
You know my...
Yeah, got a basic idea.
There are two movies that I can think of that I just have a visceral reaction to. That is one of them. The other one is Dirty Dancing. Blame a significant other who made me watch it way too many times, but I hate that movie.
Never actually seen it all the way through. Just seen clips. So,
you know, if I'm gonna watch something over and over again, it's gonna be both Blues Brothers.
Hey,
see, that I can agree with completely.
All right.
Because it's not like I quote the movie at least once a week or something.
I mean, you're already on a mission from God. Might as well.
Yep.
We are on a mission from God in this game, or at least one of them.
After going through the what is a role-playing game, which is going to be redundant, it then goes into the core themes, which the bullet point core themes are heroism, danger, adventure, and forward momentum. You are champions chosen and blessed by the gods, so that's where you get the heroism part, which you know what's funny to me? I keep seeing in certain discussions
usually blessed from the gods.
I keep seeing in various discussions how D&D needs to move away from the superhero thing. And then I look at the various mythologies that served as inspiration. I'm like, why do we need to move away from superheroes when heroic fantasy is part of the DNA of fantasy role-playing? But you know, you look at the mythologies in any culture, and it's just festooned with larger-than-life characters who you put them in a more modern setting, they would be superheroes.
All the way back to Gilgamesh.
Also known as the greatest
a good number of them
in history.
are superheroes.
Yeah. Though I have called the Epic of Gilgamesh the greatest bromance in the history of everything.
Oh yeah.
I mean, of course it is.
Gilgamesh and Enkidu, baby.
Yep. on the other hand, if a Greek hero approaches Zeus and says, "You banged my mom," Zeus will probably reply, "Do you have the slightest idea how little that narrows it down?"
Oh,
Oh. Oh, Zeus.
I thought
Zeus,
you were gonna say
Poseidon,
something else.
Apollo.
It's been theorized that Heracles is a descendant of Perseus. Which, if that is the case, Zeus is both Heracles' father and grandfather.
I mean, it's the Greek gods. At the end of the day, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
But of the 4 core themes that they go into, the one that's most interesting to me is forward momentum. As they say, game sessions should never falter or leave players in a position where they don't know what to do. Failures are always met with new challenges and opportunities for advancement. Which sounds to me like they are leaning heavily into the fail forward philosophy.
Yes.
So, for those who are unaware, fail forward is a school of thought in game design where a failed dice roll is not a narrative stop. Like, the action you attempted failed, but that doesn't mean but failing is not the end point of the narrative. Is the idea of it. But when we go into
When the door closes, a window opens.
Yep. We go into dice. D6s are going to be your friend. That is
Again.
That is the only thing you're going to be rolling. Now, the Quickstart does have a few pre-gens, which we will get into later. But the first part of a character is the qualities. Your overall capabilities and are in 4 areas: might, poise, wisdom, and cunning. The value of a quality is how many die you roll during a trial, basically a check.
Yeah. So we have a theme of resurrection, and we have a stat called poise. You know what that makes me think of? Yeah. But it probably isn't too much to do with Dark Souls. But I suppose we'll find out. Yeah. Sorry, that was it. Yeah.
No, you're fine. I know next to nothing about Dark Souls.
Yeah. Poise is kind of a stat that determines basically how much damage you can take before being staggered.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yep. And when it comes to the 4 that we have, might is physical strength, endurance, and prowess in battle. It is used for melee attacks or for trials where strength is a deciding factor. Poise is physical dexterity, agility, speed, and efficiency with ranged attacks. And for trials that involve movement or athletic feats, as well as initiative.
That's an interesting... Yeah.
Wisdom is intellect, insight, puzzle-solving skills, and ability to decipher language. It is used for trials where making sound decisions based on knowledge is needed. And cunning, it represents social grace, persuasive nature, and the ability to lead and manipulate others.
Surprise, motherfucker!
And thank you, BL Toko, for the raid. Hope FF14 treated you well. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Mildra. I am your one and only gaming monk, and we are going through both Mythic Battles Pantheon and later on RUNE 2nd Edition tonight. But after those 4 attributes, we have defense and vitality. So defense is your ability to not get hit, and is how many die you roll for defense checks against attacks that are directed toward you. Vitality is a measure of your health and represents how many wounds you can suffer before you fall. As you drop vitality, a number of penalties are imposed. And typically, your maximum vitality is going to be 7, but it can go up. I would imagine.
Okay.
Listen,
have
I'm
some
good. I got
references.
5 rows and 7 columns.
Hey, we're not on Okahoshin anymore.
Oh yeah.
So we got some reference to slots here. So I imagine that there's like abilities that you can like put in there maybe, and the more damage you take, the more abilities become inactive.
Yeah. Oh. We also have alignment and gifts, which is what's going to
Joy,
separate.
alignment.
Fortunately, we're not dealing with that kind of alignment, because forcing people into being certain alignments, otherwise they can't use the thing that they build their character around, would be a really, really stupid idea. What kind of idiot would do that? Hint, hint,
Especially
wink,
in a
wink,
game
nudge,
where
nudge.
every character is the servant of a god or goddess.
So the connection to the divinity might be a blessing, a curse, or a sign of being a divinity's direct descendant. And by being chosen, you are given access to a number of gifts. Each champion is aligned to a god and has a number of gifts on account of this fact. Gifts are mortal skills and divine powers that you've either learned or been granted by a divinity. They give bonuses in different areas and are what set champions apart from normal mortals. The alignment and gifts will be on the individual character sheets. And speaking of what you mentioned earlier, on the next page we have the matter of slots. Each champion has 4 slots with which they may assign their gifts. These slots are numbered 1 through 4 and start off active, meaning the gift assigned to them may be used. Slots can become inactive during a game when you become wounded. Slot 1 is not used in this quick start. Each gift is also connected to a favored quality. When a slot is inactive, the favored quality connected to the given gift is also affected. And just remember, quality is basically the core attributes.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, right. Quality is just an unusual name for that. I'm gonna have to get used to that.
Yep. But when it comes to using your gifts, it is up to the player to describe how the effects materialize. And each gift will be described in detail on the relevant sheet. But the fact that they encourage people to describe the gift instead of just giving the effect is a nice touch.
Indeed, indeed.
After that is the creeds, which can be used to get an advantage on certain outcomes, but also serving a purpose to those who follow the right path. This would be the closest thing to the traditional alignment approach, but it's more of you embodying certain beliefs.
I don't see an Assassin's Creed here.
Oof.
But the creeds are honor, which is earned by standing up for a champion's beliefs, not being pushed around, and by upholding the tenets of divinity. Glory, wait, is this L5R? No, I'm kidding. Is attained through victory in grand battles and through acts that are considered heroic in the eyes of the divinities. You can gain it through single-handedly surviving great battles or holding a strategic point. but it is lost if you do things like flee from battle or suffer an ignominious defeat. Then charity is gained through showing kindness and mercy, especially to mortals or those who would otherwise fear the champion and their allies.
Gary.
And sagacity is earned through rational thinking, successful in strategic planning, and using one's wisdom over strength. There's also,
Mind over matter.
Yep, there's 2 more on the next page. Craft, which is attained through the use of cunning and deceit. And wrath, which is gained by embracing chaos and destruction at the cost of everything else. Creeds can be spent during the course of gameplay for a number of bonuses. So, like I said,
Go ahead.
Creeds are the closest thing to alignments, but I know I was joking earlier, but it's not too far removed from like Bushido tenets or the codes of behavior in various games.
Though some of these are clearly a bit at odds with each other, and I'm curious which divinities embrace which creeds. Like, for instance, you're probably not going to have a character who gains wrath at the same rate as charity, you know?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and I could see some canceling each other out. But
Yeah.
now
It
then
does
they get
look like
good.
What were you saying, Sachan?
it does look like it. Like but implying that it can be spent means that each hero can like choose the creed for themselves, right? Or is it like are you limited in what you can choose based on which belief you hold?
You know,
I don't
I
think
think-
it's based on belief. It's based on the god that you're answerable to.
Yeah.
Like, just at a guess, we're taking Zeus. I'm guessing that Zeus is going to, like, for instance, maybe sagacity, maybe craft, and then glory, perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But by acting according to the creeds, you gain points in it. By acting against it, you lose points in it. Seems to be the vibe I'm getting.
sounds right.
But when it comes to weapons and armor, weapons can provide various bonuses or hindrances during a battle. While you are a capable warrior while unarmed, when setting out, you are free to choose the weapons and equipment you'll be carrying. You can carry up to 2 weapons. You can also either be armored or remain unarmored. An armored champion increases their defense by 1, but decreases their poise by 1. Each champion's weapons and whether they are armored or unarmored is noted on the character sheet. Modifications for being armored have already been included. You can also carry any other small items that a GM agrees is suitable to them, like a rope, a pouch of gold coins, a relic of a lost age, a torch, a map, etc. And they say, remember, champions are being dropped into the middle of a war. Even during periods of respite, or where social deduction is required, the greatest of champions have little more than a sword and their wits.
It definitely feels like this is going to be a difficult game where the odds are stacked against you.
And there is a bit of a sidebar regarding ranged weapons and ammo. This is not going to be a game that's interested in tracking how many arrows you have in your quiver, for example. It is assuming that you have enough to last a chapter, basically a single session. they also mentioned a thing on rerolls. It looks like there's a golden rule when it comes to rerolls. You can't reroll twice.
That's
This-
good. Not infinite rerolls. Doesn't have to take the whole session.
So we're probably not dealing with exploding dice. Although, it's very rare for exploding dice to get that bad unless you've got somebody who's stupidly lucky.
Or spect for it.
You can't see it, but I'm raising my hand because I've had cases where I ended up re-rolling 5 dice in one go.
Yep.
Where
Yep.
where the GM's like, all right, it explodes, so roll it again, and everybody's just hoping that I don't get a 10 again. I roll it, and it's another 10. I'm like, oh god damn. Please, anything
Don't
else
worry.
but a 10.
Don't worry, guys. I'm sure they'll eventually run out of steam.
Oh, and because this was an exploding die on damage because this was an L5R game, and the big encounter that he had planned to last for a good chunk of the session just got one-shotted because that day the dice gods were feeling cruel, not to me but to the GM that day.
You know, as Smash Mouth would say, the 10s keep coming and they don't stop coming. Wow, that killed the chat. Okay.
But anyway, getting into the rules proper. Obviously, the GM is final arbiter. And the important part of the rules is still to have fun. Some groups like to follow the letter, but if I'm being honest, I'm reminded of a phrase that I've used plenty of times in this series. No one plays Uno as written.
Oh, that's so true.
Even the digital version of Uno, I think, allows for house rules.
Yes, it does.
They know their audience.
Well, the version of Uno that I had back in high school had a bunch of extra cards that were fan-submitted house rules. So,
Aw.
but after that, they go into the different character types. So, character, allied, opposing, champion, NPC. The standard fare. Hero refers to NPC versions of champions, monsters, then divinities. The main divinities are gods and titans. And they also talk about using gifts. Each gift has its own timing as detailed in the rules for the gift. For most times, these will be obvious, usually during a champion's turn during battle or in response to certain events. Where the timing of multiple gifts would coincide with each other, the GM decides the order in which they resolve. So then we get to rolling dice proper. And obviously, when it comes to rolling dice, attacks and defense checks are one of the main ones during combat, but there are other ones. But once again, I appreciate that they make clear you're only rolling dice if you're performing an action that would require it, i.e. an actual risk of failure. When an NPC would perform an action, the GM does not roll dice. The champion who's being targeted would roll dice to oppose the success of that NPC. If no champion opposes, the NPC's attempt is considered successful. So I think this is another case of only the PCs roll. NPCs do not.
Hmm.
Uh,
You know, I don't mind that.
mhm. So the main type of roll is trials, which is certainly an interesting way to refer to your core dice mechanic.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, I think we're just drawn from like the Trials of Hercules or something there.
mhm. So it looks like one of the main reasons that they use d6s is the those are the same kind of die that are used in the Mythic Battles board game as well as the ISFET board games, uh, which have the numbers 1 through 5 and a blank face in place of the 6. Uh, if you don't have access to those die, treat any reference to the blank die as if it were a 6. So when undertaking a trial, you pick the quality, you determine the complexity, and then roll dice. So choosing the quality is self-explanatory, which quality you're going to be using. And they do give a bunch of common uses for each, which is nice. Then the complexity, which is basically the difficulty rating of it. Is it an easy complexity, challenging complexity, or legendary complexity? The number of required die successes is based on the chosen complexity. If it's easy, you only need 1 success. If it's challenging, you need 2. If it's legendary, you need 3. And then you'd roll dice to determine the outcome. So the default target number for dice during a trial is 7. Now,
Okay, so we got a whole handful of dice here.
mhm. So first
Yeah,
roll,
Thank goodness.
you roll a number of die based on the quality. All blank results, so all 6s, are removed and set aside. These die do nothing unless you've got a gift or another rule that lets you use them in other ways. With the remaining die, you can remove as many die as you wish, setting them aside and applying a modifier of +1 to the result of another remaining die for each die spent this way. Each remaining result that is equal to or greater than the target number is considered a success.
Okay, so we're using their specific dice for the Mythic Battles. Maybe the board game too.
Yeah, that's what they're using here, but you can use any d6, just treat the 6 facing as blanks.
It's a blank. Yeah. Okay. No boxcars.
Mm-hmm. So we have an example here where they roll 4 die, a blank, 3, 4, and 5. The blank is removed, and the champion spends one die to increase the 4 to a 5, giving them 2 5s.
Okay.
Now, each die result of exactly 5, either as rolled or increased, can now be rolled again. The value of the second roll is added to the original die of 5, giving you a final roll of between 6 and 10. Any blank results on this second roll are removed and set aside like the first one. And just as the first one, die from the second roll may also be spent to apply a modifier of +1 to another die. And any die set aside from the first roll may also be spent in the same way.
Okay.
Each remaining result that is equal to or greater than the target number is considered a success.
Okay, so you sack the low die to increase your chances of beating
Succeeding.
the DC. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Target number, TN, whatever. However they say it.
This is a success-based approach, but it's not exactly a success-based approach like, say, World of Darkness or Shadowrun.
Yeah.
Now, if the final amount of successes are equal or greater than the complexity, then it's considered a success. If not, it's a failure. This is a interesting approach where you almost want to roll a mix of high and low.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
Especially since for each die that you set aside, oh, it's still only a +1. So rolling a bunch of 5s isn't really going to be as much of a benefit as it may seem.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if you've got 1 5 and a bunch of random non-blanks, you could just put it all, and you're doing like an easy check, you could just put it all on those dice and get yourself to a success relatively easily.
Hmm.
Especially if
this may. Go ahead.
if the goal is to get to a result of 7.
Systems like this make me glad that there are clearly like STEM heads who are really interested in game design, because this is something that I would never have thought of.
Yeah.
It's cool that someone who's like more math brained can come up with these interesting dice rolling mechanics.
I do think this system is going to be an interesting challenge to try and do in virtual tabletop, which I think the question of VTT support was brought up. I would have to double check.
Yeah, the macro for that's going to be beyond a few people, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously, could I see it work in like tabletop simulator? Yeah. I think it'd be tricky to work in Foundry or Roll20.
Mm-hmm.
And just so I'm not talking out of my ass, let me look at the... Let me look at the GameFound page. And
by the way, I did a conversion on the amount of money they made. It was about 135K in freedom units for this particular game.
Dang.
And on the page, they do have a gameplay video to showcase their D6 base system. It is definitely an interesting approach. But something... What I am going to be curious about is how gifts might mess around with it, aside from giving you... Now that we understand it, it does put a bit of context into that reroll rule that I mentioned before. Of no die can benefit from a reroll more than once. Because you're already getting one reroll for free. It's just giving you an additional one that lets you... Unless I'm misunderstanding, lets you add the previous result.
Seems right. But we'll probably learn more.
Yeah. Given that, it also makes sense that NPCs don't roll, because that would get a little bit nuts.
Just a bit. And
they reiterate the golden rule. Many rules, such as those granted by gifts, allow for one or more dice to be re-rolled. Though multiple different rules may take effect at the same time, each die rolled as part of a trial's first/second roll, or an attack's first/second assault, or a defense check's first/second defense, may only be re-rolled once. Under no circumstances can the same die be re-rolled twice. It's important to note that the second roll, second assault, and second defense that take place of a trial, attack, or defense do not count as rerolls. As such, a die may be rerolled using a rule or effect, and then be rolled again due to the second roll, second assault, or second defense rules. They put in a sidebar important. Each roll, assault, defense is considered a separate roll, meaning that if a die is rerolled as part of first assault during an attack and then rolled again as part of second assault, it may still be rerolled using a different rule. Okay, that kind of answers my question from earlier.
Okay.
So you roll a number of d6s, you spend some to essentially cannibalize, then re-roll them and try to get to 7 on the individual die. Given that, it makes sense now why 6s are blanks, because otherwise it'd be way too easy. Like,
So what do the blanks represent again? Just 0 or?
yeah, 0.
Got it. So 0 through 5, not 1 through 6. Understood. Understood.
No, there's still ones. Never mind. I get what you were saying. But then when it comes to battles, battles are divided into rounds and turns. Each round you can take up to 2 actions. When everybody's taken a turn, the round is complete and it returns to the first character to start a new round. Rounds are determined by initiative. So, initiative is not rolled. Instead, it is action based on poise. Whoever's got highest poise acts first, then going down the line. If there's any tie, that's a roll of a die. Highest roll acts first.
So that's what poise is for.
The champions decide between themselves. On the other hand, you could do a more popcorn initiative, it looks like.
Popcorn?
So the
Yeah, you just pop.
Initiative.
Yep.
Do you get popcorn?
Oh.
Yeah, it's like when somebody acts. Yeah, you all throw a popcorn bag in the microwave, but no, actually, you decide who goes first, and then you just popcorn it to the next person. Then they popcorn it, etc., etc.
Okay, but I'm still not understanding the term popcorning it.
That's...
Yeah.
I think it's based on the idea of passing popcorn in a theater.
Oh, got it. So it's like each player goes first, and then it goes the opposing side?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean? Okay.
It's just instead of the turn order being set, it's being decided by the party. Obviously.
Okay. Got it. So it's like, okay, I'll go first, and then who wants to go next? Okay. There we go. This is our game plan.
Yep.
Got it. Okay, I understand now.
But once an order is determined, it remains that way until the battle ends. They note some NPCs possess a rule called Take the Initiative. An opposing character with this rule always acts before champions, effectively jumping the queue. When multiple NPCs with this rule are present, the GM decides which order they will act. So normally champions act first, unless there's an NPC that has this rule. Now, when it comes to actions, most of them take one action. Cast a Epiode, which is basically going to be a spell, takes 2 actions, and some other rules may require only 1 or 2 actions depending on the rule itself. Also, instead of a hard grid, we have range zones, much like in, say, Savage Worlds. Touch, close, medium, and long. Which the difference between them is how many move actions it would take to get to that. Whether it's within range for touch or 1, 2, or 3 move actions for the other ranges, respectively.
Got it.
So that suggests to me that we're not battle mapping this out.
No. And this kind of loose approach was also used in the Conan RPG that recently came out. But, and of course they'd make clear.
I've just seen it in multiple places. I think this was true in Tunnels and Trolls as well when we went over that week or so back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tunnels and Trolls was not very strict on that kind of thing, which, given the kind of game that it wants to be, makes sense. Now, when it comes to attack actions, this is where we revisit the die setup we saw for Trials. If you're using a melee attack, you're using Might. If you're using a ranged attack, you're using Poise. But the default target number for dice is 7. Certain effects may increase it, but the target number can never go higher than 10. So the first roll is called First Assault, the second roll is called Second Assault, and then the number of successes determines the number of wounds inflicted on the target. I.e., how much vitality the target loses. Now, an unarmed melee attack can never inflict more than 1 wound regardless of how many successes, unless you have a gift that says otherwise. With a defense check, it works the same way. It's just that the successes reduce the number of wounds you would suffer. Any wounds remaining go straight to your vitality.
Which, as we know, is between 1 and 7, typically starts at 7 and goes down from there.
Yep. Now, a group attack is defined as a single gathering of up to 4 targets within touch range. And essentially, unlike melee or ranged attacks, it doesn't rely on one of a character's qualities. Instead, it will state how many die should be rolled when making the attack, in the case of a champion, or how many wounds it inflicts, in the case of an NPC. If a quality is taken into account, it will state such in the area attacks rules, i.e., perform a might area attack.
But feels like something an Ares adherent would be able to do.
Yep. But if you make the area attack yourself, target number is still 7. The number of wounds that's inflicted with that area attack is applied to all characters in that group. Now, allies who are caught within... Now, if you're caught within an ally's area attack, you don't get a defense check. You just get the wounds automatically.
So, great.
Beware of friendly fire. If an NPC performs an area attack, all champions within the area roll a defense check as normal.
Wow, you could really backstab somebody if you felt the urge.
The character making the area attack is never considered a target, even if it's within their own touch zone.
The entire, I don't care how small the room is, I cast Fireball.
But each time you suffer a wound, your vitality goes down by 1. As you go down more in vitality, certain slots on your gifts become inactive. So slot 2 becomes inactive when you have 3 vitality left. Then it goes to 1 for slot 3. The slot 4 gift can never become inactive. And here's an interesting thing. For slots 2 and 3, when they become inactive, their favored quality is reduced by 1, and defense is reduced by 1. When slots 1, 2, and 3 are inactive, the allocated gift in slot 4's favored quality is increased by 2.
Mm-hmm. Got your last stand going on.
Mm-hmm.
I still need to get my first stand.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
So, obviously, you can recover through things like a respite or using a omphalos, a divine stone. Oh. Now, with respite, you get that once per chapter. You cannot claim it during battle, or if you're under duress. Oh. Basically, this is your rest action. Rest up, fix up your wounds, eat, drink, and ideally, sleep. When you do that, you recover 5 vitality. If you use an omphalos, you can recover all of your lost vitality, but you immediately lose 1 point in each of your creeds.
Oof.
I need the vitality.
Mm-hmm.
It's so early for me, and I'm like,
What do you
so sleepy.
What do you do for caffeine? Do you do like coffee or tea or something?
Tea. I prefer tea. I don't drink coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. When you're at 0 vitality, you're at death's door. On your turn, if you're at death's door, you cannot perform actions besides a shock trial, and are incapacitated or in a critical state. You also cannot suffer any more wounds from attacks or other effects. You're considered out of action, and when possible, the GM should turn the focus to remaining NPCs toward other champions. So a shock trial is like a trial as normal. If you do not get any successes, then the champion is killed unless the GM sees a narrative reason otherwise. If you manage to succeed, then you're able to mark the checkbox next to the appropriate quality to note the trial was passed. You do this up to 4 times. If you pass all 4, then you're restored to 1 vitality and are no longer at death's door. So now, of course, if you're healed 1 or more vitality points by an ally, then this no longer matters and the shock trial marks are erased. If the battle comes to an end with at least 1 survivor, then you're restored to 1 vitality. Or, of course, if there's a TPK, then it's not going to matter. But, as mentioned, death is not the end for characters. Because there is the matter of Elysian's Boon. When a champion is pivotal to the ongoing story, or if a GM is feeling generous, Elysian's Boon can be used to add a narrative reason for saving those who would otherwise be killed. When this approach is taken, each champion should be returned to 1 vitality, though the GM is free to rule that more vitality can be recovered if circumstance allows.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right. Okay, I see it now. Yeah, all right.
Though, there is also the matter of omphalos, the divine stones. This is a common focus for campaigns. Every divinity wants it, and many gods and titans will task people for getting these things. When an omphalos is recovered, it may be carried by a champion or an NPC. While in possession of one, the character will always be the primary target of attacks from monsters and divinities. But you can use it in certain ways, and once used, the stone is lost. You can use it to allow the champion to roll 10 dice regardless of quality. Rules from applicable gifts are applied as normal. Summon the avatar of the champion's divinity, who will act as an allied character until the end of the scene. Or recover, as mentioned before, recover all lost vitality and lose 1 point of each of your creeds.
Well, that doesn't seem very heroic to me.
Right.
Well, if you're acting in the service of the gods, and the gods want these divine stones, using it on yourself is probably going to result in a backlash.
Yeah.
So, Magia is what's next, and that is referring to a mixture of enchantment, sorcery, and prophecy.
So just magic.
Mm-hmm. A very Greek adjacent magic, but magic nonetheless. You have to have the Made Ghost gift in order to use it. One of the actions you can do if you have the gift, you can do the cast an Epiode action, which is a full round action. And the three spells that we have, at least for this quick start, are Violent Rain, perform an area attack, medium range, 7 dice. Soul of the Viper, until the end of the battle, each time the Magos attacks inflict 2 or more wounds, they inflict 1 additional wound. And Ascapilardi's Secret, I probably mispronounced that, but I'm working with it. The Magos may either recover 2 vitality or select another character within close range to recover 1.
They should really have like pronunciations next to these.
Mm-hmm. I got you on this. It's Asclepiades's. It's like, the snake twined around the staff that they have, and like that's like a symbol of medicine.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it refers to. Yeah.
Yep. Now, we did talk about creeds earlier and how they're kind of a resource. This is where that kind of thing can happen. If you perform actions that are worthy of those creeds, a creed point can be bestowed by the GM, or remove a creed point, i.e. strip it. So in the full game, creeds are used like XP to develop a champion, and can also be used to grant an immediate bonus. Each of the 6 creeds provides a different bonus, and a champion can evoke each creed once per chapter by spending 1 point from the relevant creeds. Any creed points this way that are spent in this way are immediately removed from the creed track on the character sheet. So the bonuses are for honor. During the first roll of a might or poise trial, you may re-roll all dice. And actually, it looks like each of them is doing the whole re-roll all dice, just for different types of setups. For glory,
Wrath may be different.
Yep, Wrath is the exception. So for honor, you can use it during the first roll of a might or poise trial. For glory, you can use it during the first attack, the first assault. For charity, during the first defense. For sagacity, during the first roll of a wisdom trial. Alternatively, you can request 1 fact. So this is the hint button in the old Sierra games. For craft, during the first roll of a cunning check. And for wrath, for the duration of this round, the champion may use a gift that is allocated to one of their inactive slots. That is a interesting approach. And when it comes to the stuff in the GM section, it's a lot of stuff that isn't going to be all that relevant for us. So I'm going to skip right to the pre-gens. Which the pre-gens start on page 47.
40. Here we go.
Mm-hmm. So we have Egeria, champion of Apollo. And see the setup that we have. So 2 weapons, 4 gifts. We see how we have the creed set up. There's also apparently a fate creed that wasn't gone into. That'll probably be something in the full book.
Yeah.
It also looks
But
like
it's
each
kind of
weapon is going to have its own unique rules. Like the crossbow that she has when the wielder inflicts 2 or more wounds during a single attack, they inflict 1 additional wound. Attacks are made at -1 poise, and the crossbow cannot be used at touch range. While the short sword has, during the first assault, you can change 1 blank to a 1. Which, in a normal circumstance, that wouldn't be all that impactful. Here, changing a blank into a 1 can be very impactful. But then we have the 4 slots. So it's very clear this is your marksman archetype. I am curious if it's going to be a case where there's a whole list of divine gifts for each god, or if the gifts are more based on theme.
My guess is that they're more based on theme, just because that would give you more what I want to say, variation.
Mm-hmm. But then we have Chaos, champion of Pan,
who wants to reject civilization and embrace chaos.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've all been there, right?
just a little.
Yeah. Then Cyneus, champion of Ares.
Yep, looking a bit like a Spartan there.
Mm-hmm. Who has a lot of stuff with Wrath. As well as the good old Spear and Shield, as one does. I do like that they have that for the different qualities. They have the Greek version of the word as well as the English.
Mm-hmm.
But then Desta, champion of Hecate, who I see him and I keep thinking of the Salamander Space Marines.
He seems like a stand-up guy.
With the fire, I would almost think Hephaestus, but that Hecate works too.
Yep. And
Good old Hecate.
He is a mage. And then Lasthena, champion of Persephone. Who, she's got them crazy eyes.
She does.
I wonder if she likes pomegranates.
Oddly enough, she is not a caster, but she is a old-fashioned necromancer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she also has foresight, so.
Keep in mind.
Also, when is a necromancer not a caster?
When necromancy is treated as a form of divination.
Okay, you got me there.
Because that's what it was originally. But I do like the nice little map we've got at the back of the setting version of ancient Greece.
Oh yeah, I see it. I see that now.
But overall, based on this quick start, what do you guys think of Mythic Battle's Pantheon?
I like it.
Yeah,
I
would
think
agree.
It's pretty neat.
Yeah. It's like I can definitely see having a lot of fun in character creation here. It's like, you know, what god feels cool to me right now, and how can I best make a champion of them, and to do like these mythics is because you're like, I think it sounds like you can play a demigod too. So you're playing like a larger than life character for sure. Even, you know, larger. Yeah.
I think the goal is to become a demigod because you want to be a hero, and most heroes generally became demigods, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, demigod just means, well, usually in the Greek, like Hercules is a demigod, right? Because he's the son of Zeus. So that's in like the Greek.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
It's like you're descended from divinity. Is usually what it means. But yeah, I like it. I think it would be, as I said, a fun in character creation. Not too taxing in terms of learning the rules. I think you would have to get used to the dice rules a little bit, but you know, a few dice rolls, then you'll be fine. And what's more is that it sounds like every mission is going to be kind of an action scene, right? Is what it feels like. You're going to be fighting these big these great big battles. Not terribly sandboxy is what I get the impression of, and that's fine for some games.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to be doing big damn hero things all the time.
Yeah.
So, do we get to choose our divinity like from any of the Greek gods?
Obviously, we don't have a way of knowing that right now. I would imagine so, and your choice is probably going to determine what creeds are going to be favored.
Got it. So, can my divinity be the original sin?
Oh. Original sin, like?
I think Sachan and I missed that one.
What?
Sorry. Referencing game Divinity Original Sin.
Oh yeah, okay. I got it now. Yeah, okay.
Yep. So we are going to before we switch over, I will note there's definitely a lot here I like. I see a lot of the DNA I've seen from other Monolith works, which makes sense because Monolith is publishing both this and they published the original board game. I think the only thing that is going to be a bit of an adjustment is the way dice work. Because it's not necessarily a sum-based system, like, say, Roll and Keep, and it's not a success-based system either. It's something of a hybrid between the two.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that you're trying to have a bit of a strategic spread where you're trying to roll high and low is an interesting beast. It also means that because with a lot of the qualities that we saw, they ranged from 4 to 7. So because of that, you're probably gonna be rolling more dice than you actually need. So there's a bit of strategic use of your dice pool, and I think because of it, rolling boxcars is the worst case scenario, because unless you've got something that you can, unless you've got an exception, you're not going to be able to do anything with those dice. They're essentially waste.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I liken it to when we covered parselings last week and what the effects of face cards are.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's face cards don't do anything, and that's the problem when you have a very limited amount of cards. But this isn't as bad. This isn't as bad as the face cards thing, but it's in that similar vein of you're only going to have a set amount of die that you can work with, and the blanks are going to bottleneck what you can do.
So you want to go for X's?
Mm-hmm.
5s all the way, baby.
Yep. But I think for those who like a more cinematic approach, this is going to be right up their alley. For those who want to individually track things and be at the bottom of the rung in a post-apocalypse, no, not quite.
That would have to be a completely different game.
Yeah.
It feels like this game knows what it wants to be.
Yeah. And I know we brought up Souls-likes earlier. Despite the resurrecting thing, I don't think this would be akin to a Souls-like. I think given the kit that you have, this would be more in line with a character action game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there was a very Greek-inspired Warriors-like at one point. I just can't remember the name of it. So there is
Warriors like what?
A Greek-inspired Warriors game.
Oh, yes, there was.
Mm-hmm. Spartan. But we will take a. Yep. Sorry, but what was that?
No, I was.
They were asking about Spartan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For all intents and purposes, it was a Dynasty Warriors like that just focused on Greek myth instead of the Romance of the Three Kingdoms.
A Muso.
Mm-hmm. But
or the Warring States period in Japan.
Yeah. But we are going to take a bit of an intermission, and when we come back, we will be tackling RUNE 2nd Edition. The more interesting of the two League of Legends TTRPGs that I came across. So we will see you in a few.
Okay, as long as I'm not mid-laning.
majimbarala balitayao. Ora bogia velociado macabodala maniando majimbarala balitayao. Oh no Makabodara Maniando Majimbara Baritaya Sa りたやおはぼにゃべろじゃのまかぼだらまにゃんのまじんばららまりたやおはぼにゃべろじゃのまかぼだらまにゃんのまじんばららまりたやおはぼにゃべろじゃのまかぼだらまにゃんのまじんばららまりたや
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. So, for the second half of the broadcast, we're going to be looking at the second edition of RUNE. If one looks on the itch page, they'll see it's not in English, but there is an English version that's available on the Discord for the project, which is what we have here. So, as mentioned, when it comes to doing the League of Legends setting of Runeterra in TTRPG form, there's two options that I came across. This one and Rune Arcana. Rune Arcana will not be featured in this series because I looked at it and it was too similar to 5e for my liking. The magic system is a little unique, but that wasn't enough. It's still using the similar classes, it's still using the similar class features. It's a case of if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, and quacks like a duck, it sure as hell ain't a goose. And RUNE, on the other hand, while it is drawing on certain OSR projects, it is doing its own thing. And if you give me a choice between a game that is adapting an existing system or one that is built with an in-house one, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to choose the latter. The only time I will choose the former is when the core system that it's using has several changes to fit what kind of setting or tone it's trying to go for. To put that in perspective, I will bring up two 5e projects that are adapting different IPs. The Phantasy Star RPG that we've talked about in the past, which my big problem was that it was carrying too many D&D isms into a setting that didn't fit them. Versus the Naruto 5e project, which I have gone into detail extensively in the past, and is not just D&D with a Naruto coat of paint, but it's, instead of races, you have clans. Instead of the Vancian model, you have chakra points and jutsus. The classes are completely overhauled. None of them have any resemblance to 5e classes. The rate of advancement when it comes to proficiency bonuses isn't even the same. Like, you have the barest skeleton of 5e style D&D, and that's it. Everything else is built with the idea of being a Naruto RPG in mind. And there's precedent for this kind of thing. That's the reason why I love Star Wars Saga Edition so much. Yeah, it's using the D20 system, but it's not just D&D meets Star Wars. There's the skeleton of D&D 3rd edition, but it's not using the same classes. It's obviously not using the same races. It's not treating the Force as if it's just magic in a different coat of paint. It is built with emulating that in mind with the skeleton. But RUNE here looks to be in that latter category of doing its own thing, which to me was going to make for a more interesting showcase versus RUNE Arcana, where we'd probably end up ranting again.
Best to stay away from it then, I suppose. If it's gonna end up being another D&D adaptation without much of a personal identity.
Mm-hmm. Now, RUNE also cites some of its inspirations, namely Cairn, Into the Odd, Tunnel Goons, Knave, Maze Rats, Little Bones, Tavern Tales, Old Dragon D&D, and Runas and Campeones. The last one I'm not familiar with at all.
Maybe well, I mean that sounds like Spanish, maybe or Portuguese.
Yep. And while that's a lot of OSR and the like, I don't think this is falling into the same traps that a lot of OSR mentality does. OSR, for the uninitiated, is old school Renaissance. It is the thought experiment that was trying to revive older play styles. That's the best way for me to put it, because the problem is nobody can really agree on what counts as OSR, which is the reason I don't take it serious. I mean, I've seen Break be considered OSR, and I'm like, what? Hell, I've seen Ryutama be considered OSR by some people. I'm like, you are wrong. Now go sit in your wrongness and be wrong.
What I kind of think of with OSR, and I don't know if this conflicts with any of your experience, but it's kind of like tends to be like high challenge squishy characters.
It can. The reason I give it so much shit is that terms like that are so broad to be meaningless. Whereas if you tell me that a game is meant to be cinematic play, I can make some reasonable assumptions about what I'm dealing with. If you tell me a game is leaning more towards simulation, then same thing. It's the inconsistency of definition that is a big issue. You remember when a while back I talked about why I don't like the term JRPG because of how inconsistent the definition is? It's a similar principle there.
Yes, you gave me a very in-depth lecture the first time after I interviewed you for Indie Spotlight.
Yeah. And it's one of those pet peeves, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So after that we get a what is this game? The GM is referred to as the Guardian, though there are solo options for the game, which we'll get to in a bit. As far as the dice, some 6-sided, and optionally a D10 and D20 for rolling tables, but it sounds like D6 is going to be the core one we use. And then it does go into the manifesto of the game early after that. Uh, which is more about a common sense approach of how specific you need to put in the rules. It's meant to be a least system as possible, removing unnecessary excess and letting common sense and improvisation do the work.
Mhm.
Good luck finding any of that. Common sense, I mean.
But then going into guidelines, not rules, which is one of those things, much like the phrase rulings, not rules. It's one of those things that's always seems to be a bit broad, and look, I've mentioned this before, but I don't have. But the reason I often pick on the OSR mindset or NSR mindset, whichever you want to call it, is there's a tendency among those crowds to act like the way that they play things is the proper way that things are supposed to be done.
Mm.
You know, the one true way fallacy, or that the approach has some sort of increased value because that's how it's being done. When in reality, it's just one coat of paint among many.
Indeed, we've got a little bit of grognard overlap too, perhaps there.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. But then they go into the idea of a new old school, as well as people building doing builds and combinations, as well as encounters. Though, as nice as this kind of thing is, I do feel like this is not something that I would advise putting in the first few pages, especially for a book that's only 69 pages. Nice. Like,
Nice.
I'm reminded of when Vincent Flanders, the guy behind Web Pages That Suck, talked about how no one is interested in your website's philosophy or your company's philosophy, especially since all company philosophies can be summed up as all babies must eat.
Mm.
A lot of this kind of thing I feel is better served in more of a GM section than an introduction. Especially things like manifestos and essays on OSR and NSR.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically if I'm picking up this game, then I want to run Runeterra, and there should be a focus on Runeterra.
Yeah. The organization does seem a little helter skelter so far. Maybe it will focus up a little bit when we get to the rest of it.
Mm-hmm. But then we get to Chapter 1, the actual system. So, characters and creatures possess 3 basic approaches that function as a base for strengths and weaknesses. Those 3 approaches are Might, Guile, and Vision. Might leans into physical fields, Guile into mental things, since it brings up dexterity, agility, precision, charisma. Vision are things like will, perception, magic, occult, intellect. The whole might, guile, and vision thing feels like it's in the vein of might, will, and skill in, say, Fable, or the warrior, rogue, and mage thing that's in the Worm engine. Which Warrior, Rogue, and Mage is a very interesting free game. But when it comes to difficulty checks, it's largely taking the approach that you see in Powered by the Apocalypse, Roll 2d6, add the value of the approach. If the total is 10 or more, it's a total success. If it's 6 through 9, nice. It is a success with complications. A partial success. If it's 2 to 5, it is a failure. If you get snake eyes, that is a ruin. That's the worst kind of success, or worst kind of failure. If you get boxcars, that is the best kind of success. The former implies that you are going to be losing something. The highest, you are rewarded. If you roll with advantage, you roll 3 die and drop the lowest. If you roll with disadvantage, you roll 3d6 and drop the highest. And then it goes into dice and checks. It brings up that if a fail occurs, it's not that you failed to perform the action; it's that you failed to avoid the risks. So I think they're trying to go for fail forward. Saying, though, here's something I find a bit odd when it comes to difficulty checks. It says players are not meant to solve problems with dice rolls, or rather with their own ingenuity. This is another kind of thing where I'm like, why is this not in a GM section? Why is this in the section just for how the game mechanics work?
Yeah.
And same thing with the OSR philosophy, where it brings up combat like war, not sport. Then bringing up modern RPGs, seeing combat as a sport, where things are prepared and balanced. And I'm like, why is this here? Same with the thing they talk about strategy and to fight or to flee. One, why is this here? And two, why is this space not being used to discuss the world of Runeterra? I know one could argue that if someone's picking this up, they're already a fan of League of Legends or the setting or whatnot, but you don't know that.
I'm not sure I'm seeing a consistent way they're using italics here. I'm seeing a lot of italics. Also, two different kinds of bolds we're seeing. And I'm not seeing any consistent reason to be doing that.
Yeah.
Maybe they're using the italics for emphasis, but honestly, emphasis in writing is not something I think typically is needed. I like the idea of highlighting various important phrases with bold, but you know.
But then we get to combat and confrontations. At first, it talks the action order. And then it sounds like you can perform any type of action that would make sense. The action order is up to the Guardian's criteria. So it sounds like we're going for popcorn. So you'd think that would be on the cinematic end of things, but I'll get to that later. So then attacks in combat. What will decide an attack will be a failure, complication, or success. Is a difficulty check against the target's armor. If the result is higher, the attack will be a success and it'll do damage equal to the difference. If it's equal or less, the Guardian may interrupt the attack as blocked, parried, countered, etc. Very low rolls will be failure, and medium rolls will be complications. Damage is dealt straight to stamina. The total damage value will determine the severity of the attack. If it would be resisted, ineffective, I feel like that should be ineffective, but I think English is not the writer's first language.
This is translated, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, this whole thing about noting that stamina doesn't mean life points or how many wounds someone can take, I do not think this is relevant.
Okay.
Uh, and in the same vein, the preparation thing about combat being chaos. For this section, that's supposed to be on how the game plays. I'm not sure if that's necessary. But when it comes to resistances, they bring up that there are two types: armor, which is your resistance against physical attacks, and magic resistance, your defense against magical attacks. Usually, PCs are going to have a maximum of 3 armor or 3 magic resistance. Then going into NPCs, which has a reaction chart of how the NPC sees you. Then a morale setup. Then going in. Why is it going into a bestiary this early?
Oh,
Like,
that is weird.
most TTRPGs, as a general rule, will open up with a little bit of how a game is played and then go straight into character creation.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Character creation, then how the game plays in more detail, then the GM section. This isn't a universal thing, but you're going to see that quite a bit as you look into games. And
we've not yet done character creation, really.
yeah, when it comes to things like death, or even this this example bestiary entry they have here, I don't have any context for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then they go into recovering and conditions. You can
There's
rest...
Oh, the loot table kind of confuses me too.
on the Elnook.
Yeah.
Not even a loot table; it's a loot list.
There's only one thing in the bestiary, so... Wait, is this a quick start?
No.
Okay.
Weird.
But
I didn't think it was, but...
yeah, it does go into... After that, goes into progression. And only 23 pages in does it go into character creation, but the actual bulk of that isn't going to be till later. So character creation is first identity, then choosing approaches. You distribute 2 points among the 3 available approaches. Then picking your ancestry and origin. Then if you wish to pick a path and specializations, then your starting path. You might get a few set of coins to buy equipment. Then choose or roll for spells and or inventions in case you can use them. This should have been much sooner than page 23 out of 69.
Yeah.
After that, it goes into solo play using oracles, which basically a solo mode for, say, solo games or journaling style games. If you wish to consult the oracle, which is for if you need to do a yes or no thing, it is a roll of d6. If the odds are higher that it'd be yes, add +1. If it's more likely that it'd be no, add -1. So if it's a 3 to 4 in the roll, it's a not exactly, so a neutral response. If it's a 2, it's a no. If it's a 1, it's a no and. If it's a 5,
Oh.
it's a yes. If it's a 6, it's a yes and.
Sure.
Mhm.
But then, for some reason, we go into items and equipment. Which you have your backpack, which is going to carry your stuff. I don't understand why for under interactions it says items aren't just words written on a character sheet. They can also affect the way the character interacts with the world around them. Basically saying there aren't hard rules for items, just use common sense.
Okay.
But when it comes to weapons and damage, they do this thing about where's the damage. Where they decide that. So this is one of those things where I know I've been saying this a lot, but I end up asking myself, why is this here? Where weapons don't have a fixed bonus attached to them, okay. So the question of how do you differentiate a dagger from a machine gun? And they don't really answer the question. They just say, well, the answer is in the question itself. And that they're different goes well beyond limited numeric concepts like bonus damage or bonus to hit. Which...
Can I read this little bit that I just noticed?
What?
If in RUNE you tried to write and arbitrate all these characteristics that differentiate weapons, you end up with innumerable pages and extensive detailed paragraphs, and even still you wouldn't be able to cover all possible variations. But maybe we don't need to cover all possible variations, maybe just some?
Yeah.
At the risk of
That's-
sounding arrogant, I feel like I answered that question.
Yeah.
Because I don't try to do... I knew I couldn't do every weapon, so instead I did a system for building weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This
is a very frustrating document to read so far.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you feel about it so far, Sachan?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, truthfully, there's a lot of things that I'm like clueless about, like old school, new school. It doesn't really matter to me as long as I can play the game and I can enjoy the game with people. I think that's good.
Yeah.
You do touch on something that I will get to in a minute. But when it comes to, going further, when it comes to shields and durability, they do bring up that the type of shield will either completely or partially defend from attacks, but will reduce its durability. But
so we have equipment that wears out here. Okay.
Yeah, which seems a bit of an odd choice for a game set in Runeterra. They say durability does not indicate how many attacks a shield can withstand, but measure and simplify its protective capabilities. I feel like that's a contradiction.
Just a bit.
So durability is just like how tough one thing is.
Yeah. But then they do go into types of weapons. Short range, medium range, long range for both. But they have 2 entries.
Magic and
for-
physical damage.
Yeah, magic and physical damage. Okay. But it's a bit odd. When it comes to armor, we have basic, medium, and heavy protection for both physical and magic. And a D20 chart if you want to get a random weapon or equipment. Same with tools and mundane items. And
But like, you know, it doesn't really seem like there's a difference, because they kind of already said there's not really much of a difference, right? Except for range.
which, when it comes to range, they're treating in that same use common sense escape button.
Mm.
Which again, I'll have something to say about that later.
Oh
Why
man.
later? You can't say it now.
Like if I wanted to, okay, I'll say what I want to say now. If I want to just have a thing where I can, like, you know, like inhabit this world that I like, but you know, which has all these game systems built on top of it in a different format. I kind of want a few game systems in there.
Right?
Mm-hmm. So,
okay, sorry, this game is frustrating me so far.
Yeah.
And this was the better of the two?
Oh boy.
Yep. But then we get to magic.
Hey, magic.
Yep. Magic exists everywhere. Some places have large concentrations, some have fewer concentrations. Mages don't create magic, they access what's already naturally present. But then we get, so it's clear that they don't want to go with a defined spell list. So spells are a combination of 2 or more words. To create spells, combine 2 or more words from the spell rolling table, separated by their magical domains, and interpret them as you wish from guidance from the Guardian. To create spells using 3 words, combine effect plus descriptor plus shape. To create spells using 2 words, combine descriptor plus shape or effect plus shape. But obviously beyond that, it's still using the 2d6 setup we saw. You're just checking against magic resist instead of armor.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a spell table for the different domains, each one having its own shape, descriptor, and effect. And going with keyword-based spells makes sense. Going with keyword-based spells and then saying just figure it out doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since I feel like it needs to answer the question: what is the difference between celestial, spiritual, and elemental? Some of them I can ascertain just through the name alone and some of the names of the descriptors. But like, what if I were to guess spiritual magic is supposed to be like nature magic? At the same time, though, the 6 type of effects that are listed: resolve, domination, inspiration, sorcery, precision. What are these supposed to mean? It
doesn't
does-
really describe anything.
Yeah. But then we get to inventions, which, aside from the fact that inventions require components for both repairing and charging, so you use the rolling tables like you do with spells. To determine the type of charges for an invention, pick the one that makes the most sense on the list. To define materials and components, choose or roll from the rolling table as many times as you wish. More complex and powerful inventions need more components. So we have a rolling table for general inventions, so throwable and equipable hardware, characteristics and functions, and then the components and charges and how much it costs for each charge. Inventions, the terminology there has a little bit more weight than it does with magic, but not by much. And once again, I still don't know the purpose of the characteristic categories: utility, support, defense, offense, and change. I can make some assumptions, but those assumptions are my own interpretation of what's here.
This is honestly really angering me.
I want to see some.
Is it that bad?
This isn't
Just
the
that
worst
nothing's
that
really
I've...
defined. Yeah.
Also,
It's
when
not
it came
telling
to
us anything.
Yeah, when it came to spell exhaustion, it says that the more powerful or complex, the more tired a caster will get. But it doesn't say if that's a case of you take health damage or you take non-lethal damage or what.
Like, it's not giving us any details. That's the issue.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's throwing a bunch of words at us and expecting us to understand.
Yeah, I can see how all of this is just like gibberish unless you can somehow make it make sense in a combat.
Not even... I'll get to that.
I'll get to that later.
Get to it now.
Joy and happiness. Joy and happiness. Moving on.
Yeah.
Going on to ancestries. The whole thing about balancing is once again something I find incredibly unnecessary. But so it looks like each of the ancestries has a starting amount of health, armor, and magic resistance, as well as a few traits, like the different traits that the Yordle has here. Spiritual domain, so they start with one random spiritual spell. Yordle magic, so they can create a new spell and substitute one of their old ones. Elusivity, they can magically camouflage. Immortality, and a weakness to runic steel.
Wait, hold on. You can't die of old age, nor do you need to breathe. What?
And there are additional traits if you are a more civilized Yordle or an amphibian Yordle.
There's only been one amphibian. Okay, sure.
Then human, 1d6 plus 6 health, 6 armor, 4 magic resistance. You have the traits of knowledgeable. You have an advantage in checks related to something you're learning or studying, as long as it's not related to magical subjects. And vessel. Whether or not you're linked to magic, your body is a perfect receptacle for powerful spirits and celestials who can use it to channel their magic into the world. Whether making you an aspect, an undead, a corrupted, a cursed creature, etc.
Sure.
But a lot of the ancestries work in a similar way. Though I notice so far most of them have the same amount of starting HP.
Yeah, what's the point then? 1d6
Okay.
plus 6, 1d6 plus 6.
Okay, the construct has 1d6.8, so we got some variety on that front.
Sure.
And then they go into paths, which are described as optional choices. I don't know how optional that is, personally. Like, you may choose an ancestry and origin and play from there. You can also go with these paths. When you choose your initial path and specialization, you will advance it through experience. So first they go with the path. The path seems to be a collection of traits based on in that same kind of primary and secondary dichotomy that we saw with the ancestries. So the path of the warrior has the warrior traits, and then specializations in the form of berserker and duelist. And you have a similar thing with the path of the rogue, which specializes into the hunter or saboteur. And
yeah, I don't know why you would not want to take a path.
And the path of the mage, which specializes in the hydromancer or hemomancer. The path of the priest, which has the priestess of Nagako Boros and the priestess of Solari, or priest of Solari.
Okay, sure. Lovely choice.
And that's where it
This isn't even a quick start. What?
So I was building towards it, but let me say what I need to say when it comes to RUNE. So if I were to put RUNE 2nd edition, on my own time I might want to look at 1st edition to see if anything was changed.
This is the second one?
Yeah. If I were to put it in my grading metric, this would, at my most generous, this gets a grade of caution. When we covered parselings last week, we did talk about how it is dependent on coordination. That's kind of the point, especially when it came to its version of magic. Like so your ability to creatively work as a group is going to make or break your enjoyment with that game. If the word that kept screaming in the back of my mind as I was reading through this is distracted. This is a very distracted work where it is spending way too much time espousing about the philosophies of OSR and NSR, and not enough on how one plays the fucking game. And when we get to how the game is actually played, it is extremely loose. It is far too dependent on the GM's ability to improvise, which every game is someone's first, much like every comic was someone's first, as said by the late Stan Lee. And I realize that it's a bit redundant to bring up the fact that it doesn't say anything about Runeterra. But someone who's picking this up as part of a gaming group may not be as familiar with Runeterra as the GM might be. And just telling them go look at the wiki is no solution either. That's a cop out.
Indeed, indeed.
Like, I get the games that it's drawing from definitely lean into that heavy improvisation. But the problem that I have is that this leans too much into improvisation.
Yep.
Yeah.
And some of the pot shots that it makes at other games are just completely unnecessary. That's why distracted was the word that kept screaming in the back of my mind. This reads like a quick start and not like a full game. And I know that because of the wide amount of array of power sets within the roster of League, trying to do that in more traditional RPGs would be tricky, but I don't think it would be impossible. I think it can be done. But throwing me into the middle of the fucking pool and saying swim, damn it, is not the way to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it feels like they had the concept of a game here, but they never built it out.
Or rather,
yeah, go ahead.
They built it around improvisation. The problem is the only people who are going to be able to grasp it are the people who have that level of improv, and that's not something that every GM is going to have their first go. A more experienced GM is going to be able to work with this, but if this is your first time in, you're kind of SOL.
Shit out of luck.
I'm fine with games that aren't that crunchy, but, you gotta have some crunch there. You gotta define your terms.
Mm-hmm.
This thing is soggy out of the box. There's no crunch to it.
The metaphor is getting so.
Yeah, the metaphor's getting a little gross there, isn't it? Oh, goodness.
Sorry, Sachan, do you know what it means when a game is crunchy?
No, I don't. Is it like
Crunching numbers, like it has a lot of numbers or a lot of stats, a
Like
lot of different. Go ahead.
Rules heavy.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So this is this has a lot of numbers, but I guess the
No.
numbers don't mean anything when you don't know how to apply them.
Pretty
I would say that-
much.
yeah. Boy.
Mm-hmm. And is this the worst entry that I have seen? No. On the other hand, much like the Crystal Punk RPG that I covered a while back, this is extremely frustrating. It is extremely frustrating because instead of selling me on the game itself. It is far too reliant on doing improvisation. And I'm not against improvisation, but there is one line that has more than once been repeated to me to the point where it's burned into my skull.
Mm-hmm.
You have to understand the rules before you can break them.
Yep.
You know, I was looking over the beginning of it just to make sure that we didn't miss that it was like there's another source book from another game that we were supposed to have read first, but it doesn't seem to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
Okay. What? I'm gonna try and be constructive in my critique. I mean, we've already said a few, but like,
yeah.
I think if you're gonna make a TTRPG, don't be afraid to just build out the systems to like a place where, you know, it's easy to like you have something to sink your teeth into. And if you're gonna build something that's a vehicle for improvisation, don't, you know, put that in. Let it be known that that's what it is. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's not the way that this was sold to us, even through like the manifesto. You know,
it feels like the manifesto was a higher priority than the rules themselves. And
Which feels like a big red flag to me.
To me, the problem with that is, I've mentioned Vincent Flanders a lot, and that's because I'm a big fan of his work. And one of the things he talked about is the 5-second rule, where if someone can't figure out what the point of your site is in 5 seconds or less, your site has failed. And this particular project does it. A lot of the mechanics that it's going into, I don't think quite match the visual identity that people have with RuneTerra, whether it be through League of Legends, whether it be through Arcane, whether it be through some of the side games like the Ruined King, or Teamfight Tactics, or even the card game. A lot when you look at those games, whether it be Song of Nunu, or Bandle Tale, or Convergence, or the Mage Seeker, or Ruined King, there was a very high/epic style of fantasy that those games are all going for. And this approach of you're just a random adventurer, the level 1 boots in the mud approach, I don't think that fits the fantasy that people have that they'd want to explore in a setting like RuneTerra. And when I looked at a lot of this, I ended up thinking, okay, putting aside the races or ancestries as it insists, how much of this actually comes off like something that could only be run in RuneTerra?
You know, I don't have much of a association with League of Legends, so I really couldn't say.
I'll put it like this. I've been covering Sword World extensively for the last year. I struggle although it could be done, I have a hard time seeing someone running the rule set of Sword World in any world but Raxia in the case of 2.0, or for Celia in the case of 1.0. So much of its rules are built around those settings. Think about how... Sizer, imagine taking 7th Sea and trying to run that game in any world other than Thea.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't work.
That's the problem. That's one of the big problems that I have with this. It is the fact that I don't see... I know not all of us here have extensive experience when it comes to the setting of League of Legends.
Mm-hmm.
But that shouldn't be a necessity. And I'm not trying to put myself on a pedestal for some humble brag, but my mind keeps coming back to the way I designed Legend Edition. You know, my Final Fantasy TTRPG. And I think somebody could reasonably play or even run that game without prior knowledge of Final Fantasy and still get the gist of the feel it's trying to go for.
Mm.
And I know a few people in the one-shots that I played were not as familiar with FF as others were. But were still able to get the point. Now, admittedly, I am coming at that from a certain position of bias, being its creator and lead designer. But I think you can see where I'm coming from on this.
Yeah.
And if I am petty enough, I may consider doing a RuneTerra campaign setting and actually...
Yay.
Which one? The first?
Like, if I'm petty enough, I may consider doing a RuneTerra adaptation for my own game.
Oh,
Like, huh. I guess you could.
Yeah, you know, I don't. Are you a big League fan?
I'm more interested in the setting of RuneTerra than I am in League itself.
Okay.
Because there is a
Fair.
lot to that setting, and there is a lot of potential within it.
The only big league I'm into is Big League Chew.
Ooh. I remember that. I used to get that as a kid.
I think Doka Ryan added that to one of his drink experiments. Didn't quite work. I think he tried to mix Big League Chew and I think vodka.
I mean, it's shredded bubblegum. I don't think it's going to work.
No, it didn't.
How are you gonna? Did he manage to dissolve it somehow? I don't know.
Well, they put it in a mason jar and put it in the fridge for a week.
Okay.
But yeah, and I did go back and look at Rune Arcana, and I appreciate that they made a full wiki and it's very well supported. But it also has way too much reskinning of 5e elements for my liking. Do I think I could do RuneTerra in Legend Edition? Yes. Would I have to do a bit of homebrewing? Yeah, I would, but I think I reasonably designed what I wrote to account for that.
I don't really think you need the homebrew, in all honesty. You're just trying to like make the characters in it, right?
If I'm going with the setting, there might be obviously I'm going to have to homebrew for specific races, the Yordle in particular.
Eh. I guess like different Yordles would be different short races, in all honesty.
or at the very least have to find a equivalent, because I don't think just reskinning Tartaru would do the trick.
Tartaru, Lalafell, what are the Lilties?
Moogles?
Maybe. But point is with RUNE, because of how dependent it is on a GM's ability to improvise, it's a no. And I know some people will. I know whenever I've criticized games that lean heavily into that, I know some people do the whole, oh, the game trusts that the players can improvise that on their own. What you're telling me when you say that is there is nothing wrong with the game just throwing me into the deep end of the swimming pool and saying, swim, damn it.
Yep.
Guidance is a big damn deal. And I feel like this game is more concerned with the right way to play than actually guiding people. This feels like a very country club kind of game. And I know that seems harsh, but this is me being constructive. If a game like this is going to reach its actual potential, it needs to not just assume people have a clear game plan from the word go. Because as a designer, you have no way of knowing that.
Mm-hmm.
Also, no one... I won't say no one cares about your manifesto, but put that kind of thing in a GM section.
Yeah.
Like, this thing should have
Or at
opened
least
with
at
character
the... Yeah. Or at least put it at the end and not at the beginning.
Mm-hmm. So, between this and Rune Arcana, honestly, I'd probably just make my own thing instead, because neither of them seem to be satisfactory. But I will note I will note my sincere apologies to everyone here for subjecting you to something so frustrating. That usually isn't how this works.
Yeah, you know, you never. Sometimes you just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
They're not all gonna be winners.
Nope.
What's the line again? It is what it is.
Yeah.
Yep. Nobody bats 1,000. Nobody's perfect, unless you're Kurt Hennig.
Or Skull.
But... But with that said, that is going to wrap it up for this week. We will be back with 2 more one-shots next week. Next time around is going to be Berserk Struggler and Mighty Heroes of Old. And these two, I can guarantee you this, we're not going to deal with the same amount of bullshit that we've had to deal with this week. Although, I think between the two, I don't think the full version of Mythic Battles Pantheon is going to be as bad as what we got with RUNE.
No, I wouldn't think so.
Yeah. But that will be next week, and obviously tomorrow will be the continuation of Night, finally getting into the game mechanics after spending a lot of time on the Noble Dark setting that it is going for. Noble Dark or Grim Bright? I can go either way.
I've never heard of Grim Bright before.
But that
Grim
will be
Brightness of the far future. There was only what? I don't know.
That will be a story for another night. So until then, on behalf of the good brothers present and not present, my name is Mildra. I am your gaming monk. Stay fucking frosty, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.